just find a way to get over it.
That's
if
all.
you don't like the job, he likes the job. Find
And
a way
that
to
was
get
one
over
mistake
it.
I did. So when they say, I told him that he should give me a list of where he sees himself in the next 5 years. Till today, maybe my husband gave me that list. Maybe it's right
Tell
now.
him, because you don't know if his standard is that he's not going to date someone the day of
Yes, one other thing that is absolutely important. See, this one, discuss it before you even know if he wants to marry you. Hi guys, how are you guys doing? Welcome to the Truthandtalespodcast with Victoria and
Yemi.
Yes, so today we are so excited about what we want to discuss with you guys. Yeah. Today we have full gist for you, right? Another gist. Anyways, today we'll be doing like a follow-up on the last topic we talked about, the last episode, right? During the last episode, we're talking about that guy that, that broke our auntie's hearts because she too was stupid enough not to ask for clarity. Are we dating? What's happening here? So in that video, we mentioned that we'll be talking about things or questions to ask your partner before you take your relationship to the next level, right? So those are the things that we'll be discussing today. So as usual, we'll be starting with the truth or the tale, but today we are starting with the tale. So Yemi, please take us through the tale of the day.
So yes, I'm going to be reading the tales for today, and I'm very excited about this because this is actually a request from one of our listeners, from one of our subscribers, to talk about this topic, and it kind of fits into the previous conversation as well. So yes, that's what we're going to be doing today. So she says, please ma'am, I want to ask a question. What advice do you have? Does a guy's job matter in a relationship, or is it about as long as he is making money and making ends meet? What if the lady doesn't like his job, but the guy is getting money from it? Does that matter at all in a relationship or marriage? Because the guy is literally everything you want in a man, just that you don't like his job, but he likes it. That's the tale of the day. That's the
interesting.
Tale of the day.
So let me just give a background to that story, because I actually asked for follow-up, because when you are talking about her, should I go for the job? His job is, I'm not comfortable and all of that. My mind will go to two places, right? Or naturally, your mind will go to two places. It's either he's doing something illegal, right, and I am not cool with it, or he's doing a job that's is not white collar, it's not prestigious, it's not a job that I can tell my friends that my husband is a banker, my husband is a politician, you understand? Maybe he's a project manager, or he's doing a menial job or whatever that is paying him, right? So those are the two scenarios. So, and I asked for clarity. Is it that if he's doing illegal things, sister, run for your life? Because especially all these fraudsters and things that are happening in this time and age, you understand, there's nobody that people cannot use to make money, to do money. The desperacy that youths are in this, especially in this part of our world, what they would do to get money using their brother, their sister, killing people, kidnapping people's wives and their children just to be able to make ends meet. So I have to be sure that, okay, is this the situation? Because if this is the situation, you need to start running. But then she confirmed that it was not. It was just that the job that he's doing, she does not really like it, because it's not that pleasing. It's not a white collar. It's not an IT professional. Maybe it's a person who does field work, and she mentioned that he does field work and all of those things. So she's not really feeling the job. So that was
she can't brag about it.
So that was her issue. So let us talk about that before we now dev into some of the topics or some of the things you should discuss with your partner. Because I think since we already have this question, I think this is the very first thing we should talk about your career, right? That's one thing that you should definitely know, because like I said, you need to know if the person is doing a honest job, right? You need to be doing something that is legal before they'll come and carry you and say, because we see that those things happening. You understand? When they catch a fraudster, everybody will start to say his wife cannot say he does not know. When they catch a ritualist, they will say his wife cannot say she does not know, because it is expected by society that you know what your spouse is doing, or what the person you want to get into a relationship with is actually doing for a living. So he buys you car, he buys you house, he buys your mother car, He provides for you, he gives you food, he provides, he does everything for you. Today you are going to Hilton restaurant to eat, tomorrow you are going there, but you don't know what he's doing. When they arrest him, they're supposed to arrest you join, because you cannot say you are eating all the money, you are doing everything, and you don't know exactly what he's doing for a living. That is inexcusable, right? So you definitely need to know what he's doing. But yeah, so that's the first thing we'll be talking about, right? But let's delve into this lady's questions. Yemi, what do you think about her question?
I think, just as you said, we've already clarified that she's just not happy about the job. She cannot brag about it. And I can understand where she's coming from, because for me, I'm also the kind of person that I like to brag about the people around me. Even with my friends, whatever thing that they're doing, their career, their jobs, I like to brag with my friends. So it's possible that she cannot just, talk about his job. She cannot say, to people that this is what my boyfriend or my boyfriend, this is what my boyfriend does for a living. If that's the situation, I'll just say that she should just find a way to get over it. If you don't like the job, he likes the job. Find a way to get over it. I don't have any other thing to say, because he's making ends meet. He's not stealing. He's not being idle. He's not being lazy. He's doing something, and it's because of the part of the world that we even live in. That's why there's no dignity in labor.
Yeah,
people do these jobs. People do menial jobs in other parts of the world, and they are comfortable with it. Like, they say it with so much pride. There's dignity in labor. So it's because of this part of the world that you come from. So get it off your mind. Your boyfriend, he's working hard, he's making money, is being responsible for what he's supposed to be responsible for, then that's fine. If you don't like the job, get used to it. That's over it. Basically all I have to say about that.
And that was exactly short. Guys, honestly, me and Gemi, we don't discuss the truth or the tale of the day before we come to talk to you guys. It's literally spontaneous. We are both giving you our different opinions, and it's right on camera. But this was exactly what I told her. You cannot base that, he's making money. It's not like he's making, I asked her, she said he makes enough money for them to be very comfortable. She just doesn't like the job description or the job title of the role. And in this time and age, that everything is about packaging. A sales girl, we tell you that she's a sales executive.
Exactly.
A house help, we tell you that she's a domestic housekeeper. Sister, it's the way you package. My husband is a lawyer. If you call him a lawyer, he can insult you. We tell you, I'm a legal practitioner. You package yourself.
Give them.
If you cannot tell them that he's a...
your husband is even my guy. He's my guy. So, I beg.
If you cannot tell them that he's a... God, I know that's not what he does, but I'm just saying, if you cannot tell him that he's a truck pusher, tell him, is into importing and exporting, or is into logistics, taking business...
Thank you.
Taking goods from one place to the other. Look for a way to package him. Nobody needs to know your business, sister. And it is actually nobody's business, okay? So if it's about...
It's not.
How you're going to introduce his job to the world and everything, my dear, that's in short, that should even be the least of your worries. As far as it checks all your your list. You love him, he loves you, your values align, and all the most important things are checked. It's now the job description. Not even that the job is not bringing in money. The job is actually bringing in money. But the title, sister, change the title. You can change the title. It's not a lie. You are just repackaging, you are repackaging the job title. That's all. That's all a job title is, my sister. That's all. Understood? So yeah, and I told her, and I also mentioned that that even in as much as she might not be comfortable with the job, I mean, you guys can continually to pray for a better opportunity after you guys get married. But in the meantime, I mean, that's what he does, and he's happy doing it. Especially if he finds joy doing what he does. I mean, you have to just deal with it. You have to find a way to accept him like that, because trust me, men are scarce in the market. If you find a man that is comfortable,
it takes
care of you. If you leave him, the sisters that will grab him, in short, if you decide to leave him, send his Instagram handle to my DM. Let me help you to advertising. You'll be amazed. You understand? So as far as he's making an honest living, he's doing something with his hands. I don't think that's not even a reason for you to say, oh no, because you don't like the kind of job that he does, as long as it's a honest job. Yeah, so don't let us dwell too much on it. So definitely, what he does for a living, it is compulsory that you know what he does. What do you do? Where do you work? all right, which of the brands do you work? You get it. You need to make sure that you have those, you need to have those box ticked. You cannot marry a man that you don't know where he works, you don't know what he does for a living, you've not spoken to any of his colleagues. I mean, well, maybe I don't know, but I shall know personally. I've spoken to, before we got married, when we were still even friending, I heard him just talk about his colleagues. I've spoken to them every now and then. All his colleagues, they know me. All of them, they know me. You get. So yeah, you cannot say your husband is bringing in money. You don't know anything about his business. That it doesn't work that way. You definitely need to discuss about his career. Yeah. So Yemi, what's the next thing we need to talk about?
Okay, yeah. So I think another thing that I feel like people should discuss when they're in a relationship, to be honest, I'm just going to talk based on my own personal experience, the things that I did, the things that I discussed in my own relationship. Like career is one of it, but it was at the later part of our relationship that I did, we talked about that. But I think the first thing I would say you should talk about is everything that is important to you. No, not everything. Anything that is important to you.
Yeah.
For example, for me, at the time when we initially met, this was like maybe 2-3 weeks, or let's just say a month into meeting each other and, starting the relationship, being committed to a relationship, like a month into it, I asked him, what do you think about studying abroad or going abroad? Because at the time, even though I wasn't doing anything, I just felt like it was part of my plan to study abroad. At the time, I've not even gone for NYCU, but I knew that in one way or the other, I want to travel abroad for studies or for anything. I just want to leave the country. I just asked him to be sure of, what he thinks about that. And he was like, sure, he has the intention to travel abroad, to study abroad, to live abroad, that he has brothers who are abroad. And I was like, wow, that's perfect, It was just very important to me.
Community in Nigeria. Yeah, the one living us, right? Don't worry. When Nigeria is better, people will collect visa to return back. Shabwa, you will collect visa to come back.
Do you know that? Do you know that it wasn't even for Japan?
Yeah, I understand.
Both of us are very traditional. We love Nigeria. Yeah, I'm just clarifying that because at the time, I just wanted to study abroad, and that's a whole different story to that. There was a reason for that, but I wanted to study abroad, and I did not want to be in a relationship with somebody that could limit that thing. So for me, it was about the mindset behind that, because there's a story behind me wanting to study abroad. So I wanted to be sure that this person I'm in a relationship with, does it think this way? And that was very important to me at the time that I met him. So that's why I'm saying that whatever is important to you at that time, discuss it. It's something that you should talk about. So it may not be, traveling abroad. It could be anything. It could be that, you want your mother to come and live with you, for example. Maybe that's what's important to you at that time. Or it could be that you want your sister or something. It could be anything. This is just me talking from the top of my head. It could be anything that is important to you at that time, So that's like another thing I would say that you should discuss, because I always say that I feel like, when you go into a relationship, at the start of every relationship, it's always selfish. Like, it's always everybody is looking
and it should be their interest.
Like, relationship starts from that basis, your own interest. So you don't want to go and ignore the things that you are interested in, ignore the things that you are, just those things that are important to you at the time. I don't want to say values now, because this is different from your values. This is just something that is very important to you at that time. Say it, ask the person, figure out the thing, because it's something that helps you to understand the person's mindset and the person's intention towards you. Because you cannot really go and ask somebody, what's your mindset? How do you think? How do you reason? It's questions that you would ask
to be able to determine,
that will help you to understand how that person reasons, that person's mindset, So I feel like anything that is important to you, ask. Talk about it in the relationship. Trash it out at the beginning. It just helps you to know the person's mindset and how they think. Yeah, I
agree.
So that's it.
Okay, yeah, I think I totally agree with that. Especially your the things that are, because things that are important to you will definitely change over time depending on where you are. I remember when I met my husband then, I was still in school.
Yeah.
When we're friends, I mean, I was still in school, and as at then, I told God I am not willing, because throughout my school period, I was not willing to date anybody. I just wanted to focus on school and building my career. You get so, and you know, from our very first conversation, we just started as friends, and you know, on the very last day of my exam, like that was the day he actually started to tell me what he feels, but we're still friends and all of those. But even in those friendships, I remember our very first phone conversation, it was basically trying to, just like you said, you don't really ask people your mindset. It was basically trying to understand how I think. Yeah. So it just started for, okay, what do you do? And me, hey, if you ask me one, I will tell you 1, 2, 3, 4. So he basically was just asking me random questions about what do I love, what I do, what do I do, what is that what I find myself doing in the future and everything. But at the end of the day, he now came up with a prognosis and said, you're a very ambitious person, and that is the kind of woman that he is looking for. You understand? So yeah, so you need to make sure that the person fits into, you know, what you want, right? Yeah. And I think the next thing, right, is to also make sure that your future goals, right, your future aligns. And I always tell this, I always say this to people that come to me for advice on, you know, their dating and stuff. You need to know what this man's plan for his future is, right? You need to know what this woman's plan for her future is. Because, for instance, and I always use this example, that if, for instance, my future plan or my ambition in life is to be the president of Nigeria, and my husband wants to be in the US Navy or in the US Army, how does that align? How does our career, how does it align? Because that means that he's going to spend most of his time, or you know, he wants to relocate there, and my own ambition is to build a home and a family here in Nigeria. Just like you said, do you have any, just like Yemi said, do you have anything against traveling abroad and settling abroad and everything? So in as much as you're talking about the things that are important to you now, don't lose sight of the things that you know you desire in the future, and try to see his mindset about those things. Discuss your future plans together. And that's one of the things that my husband used to evaluate me, you know, more or less like he was asking me questions about what I love doing, what I see myself doing in the future. You don't need to go and say, give me your 5-year plan. If they ask you to give us your 5-year plan, do you have it written out? So don't go and ask somebody's child that give me your 5 years plan, your 10 years plan. No. But you can ask it, where do you see yourself like in the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself in the next, 10 years? You know, what's your, just ask random questions, but don't go and be asking for a roadmap. Or how will you get there? Show us the way and all of that. You are not going to get a response, okay? So, but just make sure that you kind of have an idea of what he's looking at or he's looking towards, because it will also help you to know if you are the right fit for him, in that position, if he's going to be the right fit for you, or if you fit into his plan or he fits into your plan for the future. So yeah, I think that's very, very important that you have that conversation. What do you think?
True. Yeah, I totally agree. Like, I mean, it's one of those things that I also discussed while we were dating. And the thing about my husband and I is that we were not really formal when we were dating. Like, we didn't really talk about some things, like sit down to talk about those things. Yeah. But from our conversation, we talked a lot when we were dating. We dated for 3 years before we got married. We talked a lot. And we talked about the future. And just to add, in terms of, talking about the future, I think it's also important to discuss things that are things about your past that could affect both of your future. True. Yeah, it's very important, because there are things that it could be trivial, it could be serious, it could be complex, it depends, but there are things that you want to talk about that could affect you people's future. For example, let's say someone who has done things in the past, and you now know for sure that thing that you have done is going to have an effect on your future. Like, know for sure, not like you don't know. It's important to talk about these things. Of course, we're not saying once you start dating the person, you now start to ask questions. Or no, as we mentioned even in that previous video, we said as you grow in that relationship, in the friendship, there are some questions you should ask. So these are the questions, So you want to share those things that could affect both of you's future. Something that you on your own individually have done in the past that could now affect both of you in the future. You might want to share that. You might want to talk about that and see how he's going to take it, or how you are going to manage that situation, and just share. Because I remember those are one of the things that, we talked about, my husband and I talked about, and we just talked about it randomly in the most funny and interesting way. In
that's
fact,
how most conversations in relationship actually starts.
Yes, yeah, you know, we were actually playing a game, and in the game, I think I was one that even initiated it, and I said, with this game, you have to say the truth. And that was because I wanted to say some things, but I did not want to say it directly. I wanted to start. So I was like, okay, you have to just say the truth. So I'm going to say one truth, and then you say one truth, and then you say one truth. And when you say the truth, there's no explanation. You're not going to explain. You're not going to give Jara.
That's such a nice game.
When is your turn
to? I give you a free relationship consulting game. You're going to pay.
No, we did play a lot of games because we're not like... long distance, we're in the same country, but we're not always together throughout. We're not always together. So we used to play a lot of games at the time. So if you want to ask an explanation, you have to wait till your own turn. You are going to use your own round to ask for the explanation, and the person is not obligated to answer that explanation at that time. You could ask later on, you know. So I just asked, and then both of us said things about the past. And some of the things we even said it did not have any direct implication on both of us' future, right? But we just shared it.
It's important.
You know, somehow it even made us closer because I was just like, wow, this guy is very open. This guy is very understanding. And from what I also said, it was like, wow, this person has common sense. In fact, that's another gist for another gist. You know, you might want to share something like that. Yeah. That's also very in line with the future.
Funny enough, that's like almost close to the next thing that I have on my list, which is talk about your past relationship. I remember I didn't say relationships. I said relationship. You need to ask him what happened in your last relationship. You know, it will really help you to know the kind of person he is. If he's honest to you, maybe he's the one who messed up, and he's honest to you to tell you that, hey, I messed up. You know, you don't need to know the details, right? You just, I mean, if you don't want to know, me, I like details, right? So I'm not even going to tell you that. I like amebo, I like details, I like gist. So, you know, we discuss his past relationship into details. Let me know. You know, what happened? How come we are not yet married? What happened to you? Who broke your heart? You understand? So basically we discuss his past relationship because it will really help you to know the kind of person he is. If it's a person that, you know, own up to his own mistakes and basically the kind of things, and if, you know, it was the other person who did him wrong, he'll be able to also know what kind of things would get him, like, if it's a petty person, maybe you don't think what the person did is bad. Maybe to you think you would do the same, right? You don't think what the person did is bad. You kind of get to know what kind of person he is by discussing, okay, what happened then, you know, and all of that. So I think it's very, very important, especially if, you know, you talked about, especially if there's a trauma in your past. There is no way a trauma in your past is not going to affect you in the future if you don't deal with it or if you have not dealt with it. One way or the other, it's going to creep in. For instance, you were raped or you were sexually assaulted or molested. There is a very short, funny enough, you know when you mentioned this, I was just laughing because me and my husband actually recorded a video talking about things about your past to reveal to your partner, you know, literally. So that's why I was laughing when you said it. So you need to make sure that you talk about it. If you had a past trauma, you've been molested sexually or assaulted, or you had a traumatic childhood or stuff like that, it's something that your partner needs to know. However, this particular topic is for when the two of you are sure that, okay, well, this is leading to marriage, then you have to do, because you are not going to discuss all your past trauma with all the boyfriend or your try and error boyfriend. Okay, so this one is basically when you are sure that, okay, well, this is the person that, you know, we are going to work this out in the future. Yes, you want to make sure that you are discussing about some of the trauma you had in the past and what you've done so far to you know, to address it, and some of the ways it still disturbs you in the future. Like personally, I remember when me and my husband started dating, I was really struggling with self-esteem issues. Like I really and it was based on some things that happened to me, you know, growing up and all of that. So we're able to talk about those things, and now like he understood his role, like, because that's what you do when you discuss about things that, you know, have things that affect you, right? He now knows the role that he needs to play. He now knows the sign to see. So for instance, we're talking about something and I'm deflating it that, whoa, it's not like that. He knows that his role for me at that point is to be my coach and my encourager, you understand? So and that's what he does. So it really, really helped. Just like he said, it helps to bring the two of you closer. That also helped us to play an important role in each other's life. So as I talk about my own, he talks about his own, and then, you know, the conversation just grows. But like we said, this might not be questions that you just, my husband, for instance, is a person that likes to read. If there's a topic in my mind that I feel like we need to discuss this, I go and look for an article about the topic. Everybody's husband or everybody's partner has their own way, has their own way of processing information. If you just go, and that was one mistake I did. When we were dating, I told him that he should give me a list of where he sees himself in the next 5 years. Till today, maybe my husband gave me that list. Maybe it's right now as we are talking. Maybe it's now. You know, if you even actually felt like offended, like exactly, if you're offended, like what? Don't you believe in? Don't you think? Like it was just a very, very big argument on its own, but it was because of the way I approached him. I asked him the same thing in another way, and he was able to give me the answers that I needed. So you need to know how this person processes information, and you approach him like that. Some people don't like to be confronted. Okay, some people like to be like, let's do it as a game, just like Yemi talked about. So people like, oh, let's watch a movie and then let's discuss the movie, and from that movie let's bring it to our current situation and all of that. You just need to know. That's me, by the way. So you just need to know some of the ways in which your partner would like to be communicated to, and just let the conversation, spur from there, right? So So Yemi, what is the next thing that we are talking about?
I think I have another. There's something else that came to mind. And that's like, you want to make sure you communicate you talk about your standards. That's also very important.
True.
You want to talk about your standards, because that's if you have standards, okay? Because a lot of people go into relationships without standards. But let's say you are someone who have finished your trial and error boyfriend and relationship. You are now prepared for a relationship, Mr. Right kind of relationship.
A serious thing.
You want to discuss your standards, because trust me, if you don't talk about your standards, nobody's going to enter your mind to know your standards. For example, I don't drink wine outside. Maybe that's your standard. I'm just saying, I don't drink wine outside. You want to tell him, so that when you guys go out to eat, it's not going to order wine for you. I don't drink. I don't eat red meat. This is just example. These are just mundane things I mentioned, But like, maybe for example, I want us to be celibate in this relationship. I want us to always, whatever it is that your standards, you want to make sure that you clearly state it. You want to talk about it so that both of you are on the same page. He also has his own standards. Now, I'm mentioning this because I remember that during my own relationship, I never told my husband my age at the beginning of our relationship. I just did not tell him.
Neither did I.
See, that we connect on a lot of things. Like, we are similar in a lot of things.
Yes. Oh my, and it was a struggle for me. Oh my God. I had a very weird reason, but I don't want to cut you off, but trust me, it was a struggle for me because I felt so bad. In short, my own was even worse. When he now asked me, I now lied.
That was exactly what happened with me. I lied. That's exactly what happened. And I lied for a long time. I lied for a long time, really. When he asked about my age, he told me his age and I didn't say anything. And then he asked me after some time again, and I then just lied. At the time, I was 20. I think we met when I was 20. Yes, I think we met when I was 20.
Yeah, you were too young.
So I think he was 20. He was in his 20s as well. I can't remember. My husband is about 7 years older. So I think he was 27, yes. And, there was a time we were gisting, we were talking, and he told me about how he was the youngest person. He graduated really young from uni, and he said he graduated 23. I just laughed. It was like, he even graduated earlier than me, like I'm feeling like I know what I'm doing. That he graduated earlier than me, because at that time I told him I was 23. I think I told him I was 24. Yeah, I lied to him that I was 24. Because he asked about the age I lied. So it was like, even graduated me.
You increased your age.
I just knew for him that, see this one, you don't even know anything.
Me too, I did.
And why I'm saying that is because when I now told one of my friends that, do you know I've not really told this guy my real age, because I had a reason for that, obviously, but that's not the story for today. And do you know I've not told this guy my age? Too. And she was like, you should tell him, because you don't know if his standard is that he's not going to date someone within this certain age. So you not telling him your age, you might make him do things below his own standards. And that was when it hit me that I'm being very selfish today. Basic but very critical information. Maybe he doesn't want to be in a relationship with someone who is 5 years younger than him. But now, because I lied, I have made him commit to a relationship with someone that is 5 years. Maybe he had a very strong reason for doing that. But I've robbed him of that reason. And so when she said it, he hit me. And then immediately I just called him and I told him I have something to tell him. And I told him that, okay, this is my age. I'm not 24, as I said. At that time, I was not 21 or... Yeah, I think it was a year later, or months later. Then I told him, like it was like it was... And I told him that, okay, I lied. I'm
way
21.
older than you.
And it was like, he knew all along that I was lying. But he just did not bother about it. That he knew all along that I was lying because it didn't add up. That I look young and I'm saying I'm 24, and then he just didn't bother. And I was like, okay, at least I have said it.
So obviously, it's not a big deal for him.
Yeah, it wasn't a deal breaker for him. But just imagine if it was a deal breaker for him, he would have just been very disappointed. So it was just like, okay. And the funny thing is that this thing that I even did could betray, like could cause distrust or mistrust, or what's the word now? It could, it could just spoil it, because that was not even the first lie I told him in the relationship. That was the first lie. So me just coming up, and the reason is
not alone, my sister.
When I told the first lie, I didn't know how to say this particular one, and those two things are just the major things I didn't want to say, because I felt so insecure about those things at the time. So I didn't want to say it to him, because I just felt like when I tell people my age, they don't take me seriously. They don't value the things I say.
Me
and
too.
I know
that was my problem.
Exactly, So I was just so insecure about those things, and I just felt like, but later on when I told him, it was like he knew, and was just like, I beg, it's one of those things. He even said that he understands that it's one of those insecurities that you have, that he has also, done that in his earlier relationship. He had told a girl a lie, and just to get, and it was just like. It's one of those things, and I was just like,
this has to be crazy, because this is exactly what my husband also told me. Like this, literally, like I'm honestly,
guys,
honestly, this is becoming weird.
Now they will know that this our conversation is just always, raw, unfiltered.
Are you sure we are not related, or is of level?
In the other word, in the first one.
Probably.
Yeah, but that's
sorry,
that's
I caught you. Please go on.
No, but really, that's just what I was going to say. That so just communicate your standards to the other person, so that you don't allow them to make mistakes, and you also make sure that both of you are in sync. You communicate your own standards, you give them room to communicate their own standards, and then both of you can now make compromise or reach an agreement, and just be in sync, be in the right place for the relationship. So yeah, that's it. So let's have it.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's so true, though. That's so true. You need to communicate your standards. And you mentioned something about celibacy. If that's something that is important to you, you don't wait until the guy is not asking you before you're not saying, there, by the way. Please talk about it. Talk about it the moment he asks you out and you feel like, okay, this is somebody that, okay, I want to be in a relationship with. Tell him, this is my belief, okay? I don't want to do this until that. I mean, I know that I had that. In short, since all my life, that's the first conversation I usually have with any boyfriend. Apart from the very first boyfriend I had, which I was really stupid in that relationship. But who wasn't stupid with their first love? But,
that's just it.
But
that's it. Let's move on.
You need to communicate your standard. You need to communicate this, especially things that you hold valuable, your values, the things that are valuable to you. I remember my husband was talking about I know he told me he was very interested in my relationship with God, because he wanted a wife that he could hold hands together and pray. And funny enough, he had dated a Christian before. However, the person was from a different denomination, that does not believe in the same thing that he believes in. So even though you guys can be Christians together, but your belief system can be totally, apart. You get. So that was a big deal breaker for him. That was one of the reasons why he didn't really move on with that relationship. So he made me understand that this is something that is very, very important to me. And you tell him what is yours. So that let us have that conversation now, before we now decide to move this thing forward, so that we would know if this thing is worth pursuing, or if we should just go our separate ways. I think that's very, very, very important that you have that conversation. And I think the last thing that we're going to talk about in this episode, of course, and these are not everything. The list is inexhaustive.
And that's because we're not talking about the mundane things. What's your hair color? What's your nose color?
Yeah. Okay, so the final thing that we're going to talk about, of course, the list is long. It depends on what is important to you. But one other important thing is your relationship with money. have that conversation. Let him know if you're a person that you like fine things. Like one of my friends told me recently, I'm not going to mention her name, but she's in this video.
I've raised, as you're saying, I was just raising up her hand.
You know, you like fine things. You know, let him know that, girl, shall you see me, I'm a speck. I like to upkeep myself, you understand? You know, you need to make sure that you have that. And I know that this thing almost caused, it didn't almost cause actually, it was just something that we usually joke about, but my husband took really seriously because he thought I was, then when we're dating, he thought I was antagonizing him. Personally, right, I would spend money on getting food. I would spend money, like, I like to spend money on important things, right? Every other thing, I believe we can always work around. My husband, when he has his spare change, like when he wants to spend money, he likes to spend his money on books. When we just started dating, you have money that you can use to buy clothes for me, or use to, I don't know, to me, I feel like you can start, since you have that extra money, you know, put it in your, in an account that you will need in the future, you understand, or your reserve or something like that. But my husband was a person who enjoys using his money to buy books. So he will buy a lot of books that, I mean, I don't like to read as much as he does, but I will buy one book, finish reading it, and buy the other one. My mom does not buy books like that. He can read like 5-10 different books at the same time. Yeah. Like, that's the kind of person that he is. So it was, it used to bother me that, like, why are you spending this money? He would tell me, and in the way he's talking about, when he's talking about book, it's like a child that they just bought ice cream for. His book guy just left. Oh, he just got this book. And in my mind, I'm like, well, why would you use money together? You understand? So if I'm a person that me is clothes and everything, because the tendency for you to think that, oh, this person is vain, is high. So you need to make sure that you know that this is not vanity, this is just something that she loves. Okay, I can use my last card to get food, anything I feel like eating. I don't like, and I mean, this is me being vulnerable, but one of the reasons I've come to realize that it is because growing up we're deprived of a lot of things, right? So I made a vow that the moment I start making my own money, I never want to feel like eating something. Not clothes, not shoes, not watches, not earrings, not stuff. That's why you hardly even see me wearing jewelry, because I mean, it's not a big deal to me. But I never, like, it was something that I craved for personally as a child, that I never want to eat something and I have the money and not be able to buy it for myself. Like, I did not want that life, because I felt like I lived that kind of life growing up, but I wanted to eat, and you will see me jejely, like, it's not like I eat like that too, but when I feel like eating something, I want to use my money to get it. Okay, so some people might consider that, oh, you are being wasteful, or that's not something you should be using money for, or you should save that money towards your house rent and something like that. But me, this is something that is important to me. Yes, I will not use my house rent money to go and buy food, but when I have spare money in my hand, instead of me to go use it to buy clothes, use it to buy shoes for myself and whatever, I would rather use it to, you know, go to a nice restaurant and, you know, if that's what I feel like doing, or go to the market and get nice ingredients and cook delicious food, you know, pot of soup for myself. You get, I used to buy better protein, you know, because again, growing up, we the four of us, we share one tiny chunk of meat. You understand? So I make sure that if I'm cooking common small pot of okra, there has to be plenty of obstacles inside of it, because that is something that is important to me. Okay, so you need to make sure that you discuss your relationship with money. Are you a person that, you know, you will do anything to get clothes? You will borrow money. You will have debts. If you have debts, especially if you're watching in the, you know, outside of the, I mean, here we don't really do much of credit card, right? But in the US, in the UK, European countries, they usually do more of credit card. If you have credit card debt, if you have school debt, if you have this, have that conversation, please. Don't allow Omolomo to enter into it before you now start telling that, by the way, I have student loans I have not paid. No, especially in those parts of the world where, you know, when you get married, her loan becomes your loan and all of those things. So you want to make sure that, you know, you have those conversations. Your relationship with money, your money status and everything. I remember before when we decided to start dating, me and my husband, we talked about how much we're earning. Like, that's not even something that you should be keeping secret from her. Why are you keeping it? Why don't you want her to know how much you're earning? Why? Is she not the one you want to marry? And so why are you keeping it? Okay. So I knew how much he was earning. He knew how much I was earning. It's not because I'm asking him to buy me anything. It's not because I'm going to ask him to send me any money or anything. But I want to know how financially okay you are before I enter into a relationship with someone that will be the only one supporting. Exactly. So be transparent about the things that you know are important. Okay, so I think your finances is something that you definitely need to talk about. What do you think?
It's very money is very important too, because as they say, money is the root of all evil. Money also answers
it
all
is.
things. So you want to talk about
my
it?
sister.
You want to talk about it? Because just as you mentioned, me with my husband, we had different money values. Like it was just totally 100% opposite. I was a spender.
Yeah.
He is still a saver.
A saver.
He is a saver. I am a spender. I spend money on, for instance, top of my list, I spend money on food. I spend money on enjoyment. I spend money on weddings, parties, things like that. And if you like, call me vain. I am vain. I like it. I just like
with your full chest.
I own it. I love good things. He also likes good things. Funny enough, it's not like he doesn't like good things, but it's just that his priority is save, then save again, then spend.
Then that before he does spend.
So he would spend on any other thing. His clothes has to be, he likes shakara. But it will save.
My husband too. My sister. Yeah, not alone. After books, books, my husband will spend money on shoes or watch. He will not talk about clothes.
Oh my God. That's something, and it almost like it could affect you, because if you don't discuss it, you'll be like, you don't understand why this person is such a heavy saver, and the person will not understand why this person is such a heavy spender. It doesn't make sense.
Such a heavy spender.
True. You just want to make sure that you put on common ground. So I think that's very important. I think the other things, people will get to know those things in the course of their relationship. You just get to know. But these are really very important. They are really very critical.
Important. Exactly. So, yes, one other thing that is absolutely important. See, this one. Discuss it before you even know if he wants to marry you. Discuss it before you even know if he wants to date you.
I think I have an idea.
Know your husband's genotype. My sister. No, he's there. No, kene moso.
Is that husband? Your proposed boyfriend.
Spouse, your about to be boyfriend. No, his genotype. See, I always sound this in everybody's ear. What is your genotype? Especially if you have an S or a C in your genotype, make sure that that's the very first thing you find out about him. What is your genotype or your blood group? Please, it is even your blood group, because there are some blood group that you cannot, you should not marry. You don't align, because your children are, because it's not you that will suffer it all. Yes, you will suffer it too. But your children, innocent children that you are bringing into the world, they are going to suffer it. When they now suffer the sickness, you will not be spending all the money that you should be using to do fine care. You will not be spending and be taking them to the hospital after they are having one crisis or the other. So please, I beg you, love is not by force. Love covers all things. Love does not cover genotype issue. If you are trusting on God to change your genotype, let him change it before you get married. I beg you, don't marry someone that your genotype is not compatible. That is a recipe for disaster in your future. Please and please and please have that conversation.
Totally agree. Yeah, that's important. So I think we've had a very beautiful conversation today. Like, I really enjoyed the conversation. It was also sweet. It took me back to those days of my, omage, a lot of those things we were doing, when we were dating, and it was just quite interesting. I really enjoyed this conversation. So we really want to know if you guys enjoyed the conversation as much as we did. You can already tell that you can tell that we had fun filming this particular episode, and you can see that it's very raw, unfiltered. It's we are pointing out our hearts to you guys.
Unbiased, yes.
So please let us know if you have any follow-up question from this video. You can drop your comments. You can send us a DM on Instagram. Would love to hear from you guys. Don't forget to also give this podcast a thumbs up. This video that you're watching, give it a thumbs up, and then don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe, guys. Subscribe. Tell someone about this podcast. Share it with people. Let them know that we have Victoria and Yemi in the house on the Truth and Tales podcast. Let them know about this. Don't be stingy. Don't take all these things by yourself. Don't share the goodness. Yes, we're so excited to have you guys here. And as always, we have the podcast. If you want to listen, we have it on other podcast platforms. We're going to leave them in the description box. Always check the description box. We'll have goodies for you. So thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our personal channels, Victoria Fash and Girl to Mom Life. We would love to have you guys on our personal channels as well. Thank you so much for watching this episode, and we'll see you guys next week with more interesting conversation. So Victoria, I'm sad that we are leaving.
Me too. This was really interesting. I mean, of course, there are other things that you guys will discuss, but like Yemi said, those ones are normal things. Like, do you like rice or beans? What's your best food? What's your best clothes? What's your best color? That's not the thing you should be discussing. That's not important. Those ones will come later, right? So those ones are normal, but the important ones are the ones we talk about. But if you have any other important topic that you discuss with your husband or your partner, or that you think it should be discussed, please leave them in the comment section below. We want to hear from you guys. And if you have any truth or any tale that you'd like to share with us, your experience, someone experience, questions, and whatever you'd like to share with us, please let us. You can send us a DM on our Instagram or follow us on Instagram.
Yeah.
Victoria Fash, girl_2_mom.
Yeah.
Right?
You there.
On Instagram for Yemi. Yes. Check the description box below. Our Instagram handle will be there. Send us a DM and we are here to collect all your questions and answer them. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah. All right. Bye.